This is Alternate History 100. Welcome to the class.
Good morning. I have here a 2024 CBS poll ranking all the presidents from best to worst, and I want to give you a top 5 countdown. Thank you. Don't you love it when I put sound effects on my phone? Number 5, Thomas Jefferson. Number 4, Teddy Roosevelt. Number 3, George Washington. Number 2, Abraham Lincoln. I thought he would be number 1. But those are the 4 guys in Mount Rushmore. Who do you think is number 1?
It must be Donald Trump.
Hey, enough of that. We tolerate dissent here. But Courtney, I gotta tell you that Donald Trump is like Debbie Gibson. Ask your parents. Because he is number 1 only in his dreams. Based on his first term alone, this poll had him 43rd out of the 45 men who have held the office. Only James Buchanan and Andrew Johnson were lower. The real number 1? Franklin D. Roosevelt. I can see we've got some business majors here. But really, it's not an unexpected pick. Roosevelt was the longest-serving president, the only one elected 4 times. They changed the Constitution because of that. And he did lead America through the tough times of the Great Depression and the Second World War. But do you know how close we came to having none of that happen? I'm going to take you back to February 15th, 1933. We're in Miami, so you won't need your winter coat. President-elect Roosevelt, they didn't swear them in until March back then, has come to make a speech from a car. There are rows of benches, but most of the people are standing. Among them is a woman named Lillian Elizabeth Johns Cross. Quite a mouthful, isn't it? Does anybody know what she did? I didn't think you would, but it was really important. She should be on a stamp or something. Lillian was a doctor's wife from Georgia. She was a petite woman, just 5'4" and about 100 pounds. And she couldn't see over the standees in front of her, so she stood up on her bench to get a better view. And then a man behind her did the same thing, and he had a pistol pointed over her right shoulder, and he began shooting at Roosevelt. Blam, blam, blam! But she grabbed his arm and deflected it, and this guy kept shooting. Blam, blam, blam! And then a man named Tom Armour stepped in and grabbed the gunman's arm as well, and then others stepped in and choked him. And then the authorities crashed in and knocked everyone to the ground. I'm all right, though maybe I should get a stuntman. Thank you. You know I love theatrics. Lillian wasn't seriously hurt, but she went home with powder burns on her right cheek and a ringing in her right ear. Eeeeee! Kind of like you the morning after you've been clubbing. But what if she hadn't done what she did? What if she had hesitated, even for a moment? Roosevelt would have died then and there without serving a single day in office. And here's how things went in the world where that happened. The nation mourned the death of FDR, who was going to do so many things to fix the Great Depression. Pundits argued about who would be sworn in his place, since there had never been a president-elect who died before taking office. But they got it sorted out pretty quickly. John Nance Garner, Roosevelt's running mate, stepped into the big chair, and he made Al Smith of New York his VP. Before we talk about Garner's presidency in that world, let's review how things were in both worlds in 1933. Both here and there, the new president inherited a mess. The stock market crash of 1929 had knocked the world on its back, and the Smoot-Hawley tariffs of 1930 had kicked it while it was down. It was the worst economy the world had ever seen. Unemployment in America was around 25%. Cities replaced their welcome signs with boards that read, "Keep going, Pally, there ain't no job for you here." What was needed was bold action to lift the nation, and the world for that matter, out of the doldrums. And though he didn't know immediately what that action would be, Roosevelt knew he had to do something. And he formed a brain trust of advisors who helped him create the New Deal. Can you imagine that? A president finding capable people who will tell him what he needs to know, instead of yes men who tell him what he wants to hear. Yeah, only the business majors aren't laughing at that line. What they came up with was a three-pronged plan of relief, recovery, and reform. There were distributions of food and shelter for those in the direst need. Work was found for people in conservation and in public works, large and small. The biggest project was probably the Tennessee Valley Authority, which dammed rivers to bring electricity and flood control to large areas of the South. And they brought in laws to prevent the kind of speculation that had crashed the market, and to guarantee minimum wages for workers, and to cap the work week at 44 hours, and to abolish child labor. And pensions and unemployment insurance came for those who needed it. All sounds pretty good, right? But business didn't like it. How dare you tell me I can't underpay my workers? How dare you tell me I can't put children in my factories? And business fought against it all the way to the Supreme Court. But it did help. As the 1936 election approached, the unemployment rate was down to 14%. Still bad, but far better than it was in 1932. But that's our world. Over there, Garner did not assemble a brain trust. He did not do most of the things that Roosevelt did here. Poverty lingered and the unemployment rate did not fall. And as their 1936 election approached, America became polarized, falling into left-wing and right-wing camps. Populism thrives when people feel they have nothing to lose. And scary leaders arise. It happened in Germany. It happened in Italy. And in that world, it happened in America. I brought a recording of one of them.
Will you put back the Republicans who caused this mess in the first place? No! Will you put back the Democrats who have done nothing in the last 4 years to solve it? No! What you need to do is put in a new party. A party that is not afraid to say to Mr. Rockefeller or Mr. Morgan or Mr. Mellon, you got more than you need, and that ain't right in America when most of your fellow citizens don't have enough. We need to take some of that, and take it by any means necessary, so that all Americans can share in the wealth of this great land.
By any means necessary. Scary, isn't it? But that's where I'm going to stop. I'm going to offer you two choices on this assignment. You can dig into the materials I brought back and write 1,000 words editorial style on that world's 1936 election. What happens when the center cannot hold? Who is the scary man that I just played for you? How did he manage to turn America into a dictatorship? And you're quite welcome to compare that world's 1936 with our present day. Or you can look at the point of divergence. Everything pivoted on the action of a petite, middle-aged doctor's wife who stepped in to stop an unemployed bricklayer from killing Roosevelt. Everything. We could call it the small man theory, or in this case, the small woman theory. You could simply write about the massive effect on all subsequent history brought about by her action. Or you could write a personal essay about how someone rescued you and how everything you've done since is because of them. Whatever you pick, I want you to reflect on how everyone matters and how you might do something yourself to make the world a better place. Class dismissed. Hi, I'm Gary Wheeler, Alternate History 100 is a labor of love with the twin goals of entertaining you and making you think. If you like what you heard today, please hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and tell your friends about us. Your word of mouth can really help this channel grow. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. Until then, keep thinking and make some history of your own.
The preceding was a work of fiction and should not be taken as actual history.